So, can we make like a poisoned arrowhead? No. How about the stunning? No. Knockdown? No. Not enough crafting. Actually, does any one of you lore master? That won't be useful. We're gonna need some crafting to do this, so... Well, we have still some arrows here to use, so that's not the #1 priority right now. Let's sail here. Talking to a big boss. So much things to steal.
Greetings.
Actually, do you have quite a lot of stuff to sell, actually? Oh my. Here would be quite a lot of useful skills to learn, so... whatever. I currently do not have any need for any of these. But let's sell. I kinda wanna save these branches just in case we can get some money out of them. But can we sell these shells? Anti-spoon and teaspoon. Oh! He doesn't have any gold. That's unfortunate. What have we here then? A so-called source hunter, eh? Ah, Luke. Do what you must in Sicil, but don't make waves and don't interfere with the Legion's affair, you hear? I've enough on my mind running expeditions into hostile territory. Tell me about yourself. I'm Captain Orius, if you must know. Leader of the Legion in Sicil. Excuse me? Sorry for that little interruption. I went to eat. So, as I said, I'm Captain Orius, if you must know, leader of the Legion in Sicil, by which I mean I have the enviable task of commanding a battalion of Walking Dead. For I fear it may well be but a matter of time before the undead undo all my soldiers and turn them into driveling hordes of their own, misshapen number. Excuse me. Let's discuss Jake's murder. Gods above, some politician snuffs it and everyone's in an uproar. Ridiculous. I thought that wizard brat that of an Arhu not to bother. But he just had to send for source hunters, didn't he? Bloody magician. They see a pigeon poop and think sorcery is a food. Nevertheless, I want to be kept in the loop. Understand? I am in command of this town, not Mayor Cecil, not Arhu, and definitely not some hotshot source hunter. So investigate Jake's death if you feel so inclined, but report back to me the moment you discover something out of the ordinary. The scene of the crime is over at the King Crab Inn. You can tell the guard you have my permission to enter. Now off with you. In regards to Jake's wife, Esmeralda. Esmeralda is Jake's wife. Well, widow. Everyone in town down to the crabs on the beach is convinced she killed him. Now, the girl has a reputation of being a flirt. There is that. But that doesn't suffice as evidence, wouldn't you say? Or do source hunters rely on hearsay alone, perhaps? That certainly would explain some of the cock-ups you have made in the past. What? You're going to stand there and claim that with a straight face your order never wrongly tortured and executed anyone? Hardly, but I won't stand for such nonsense. If you bring evidence before me, I'll evaluate it with perfect objectivity. The Legion relies on reason, see? Not idle superstition. Let's discuss the undead. Listen, you may be here for other matters entirely, but if there's one useful thing you can actually do around here, it's to stick your nose into affairs of the undead. The stench will likely make you gasp for air, but between you, me, and those 7 worthless gods up there, it's about time someone other than the Legion gives this charade a shot. I can only hope for some fresh ideas are coursing through that source-obsessed brain of yours, and that they will take root before the undead scoop those same brains from out of your shattered skulls. They seem to be a bit weaker in the West. As good place as any to start if you want to flex your muscles. I will talk about some matters concerning the Legion. Let's discuss. Legion is none of your concern, but fine, go ahead. Let's discuss these expeditions into hostile territory you mentioned. The bravest of the brave went out looking for the source of the undead. Volunteers, all those men. For that is the pact we made. The walking dead spawn in endless number, but someone or something must be responsible for each and every one of those miserable buggers. And that is why the Legion is making renewed efforts to locate this accursed fountainhead of death. Too long have we been on the defensive. It is time for action, even if it claims more Legion lives. Souls of steel to man. My soldiers. They fight by the lighthouse, they fight by the burial mounds, and they fight by the old church. Gods grant that they may find the rotten root from which those scuffling monsters spring, and that they may fulfill their mission. So in regards to the lighthouse, there's lighthouse to the west, up on the bluffs overlooking the sea. No man has ever gone there in decade, and yet light shines forth from its pinnacle every night. The locals say it's haunted, and that if there's ghosts involved, maybe necromantic magic is in play as well. Half a dozen legionnaires have gone to find out. So far I can hope, but they are safe. So about the burial mounds. There are ancient funeral grounds all over the place north of the city. Good as place to any to start looking for necromancers, wouldn't you say? Doesn't exactly take a genius to figure that one out. Some local archaeologists offered to tag along with the men. Here's hoping his knowledge on the subject may prove to be a boon. Let's discuss the old church. There's a church to the northeast of here, built atop the very place where once stood a temple dedicated to the source. The Sicilians raised it and built a church for the 7, supposedly to symbolize the victory of the gods over evil sorcery or some superstitious mumbo-jumbo. Anyway, when the dead rose, that is where they first spotted, which makes it likely to my tongue is getting all twisted. Which makes it a likely candidate to house the origin of the outbreak. May my soldiers make it back and there and back again, unscathed. I'd like to ask some additional questions. So, if you must. What, in your opinion, are the orcs doing on the beach? I'd say they are looking for weak spots in our defense. They can't make an attack over land for fear of Arhu's magical machines, so they're trying their luck by sea. They won't succeed though, not against the Legion. You mentioned a pact you made with your legionnaires. So I did. The pact of volunteers. Not a single of my men and women wants to remain in Sicil, and frankly I can't blame them. Which is why I personally signed their transfer orders the moment they make it back from a mission behind enemy lines. Their chances of survival during these sorties are about 1 in 10, you see, and that is the reason I don't simply order my legionnaires to go on expeditions any longer. Every soldier can volunteer, and if they are successful, they bought themselves a boat ride home. Arhu tells me he suspects a sect might be working around Sicil. Yes, and he also spends most of his time in the guise of cat-licking gods knows which body parts. Sects, sorcerers, he'll be seeing flying carpets next. Let's change the subject. I'll take note of it. So, that was quite something. That was a lot of talking. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of talk. Let's go to Arhu's study.
That's fun.
Arhu's study. just making sure there's nothing I can take. Okay. Where is Arhu? Oh, that is Arhu. Source Hunter. Welcome to my most humble atelier. No need to look so flabbergasted. It is I, Arhu, in my other rather preferred guise. So, now that the cat is out of the bag, what can I do for you? Let's talk about the Source Hunter business. By all means, let's discuss Jake's murder. Of course, I hope your investigation fares well. What happened the night of the murder? I can't but piece together what few morsels fell from the grapevine into a rather disappointing meal, I'm afraid. They say a woman arrived in the King Crab Inn sometime after midnight. She retired to a room on the ground floor where she was soon joined by a man who had been nursing the same cup of wine for hours. I say man and woman because both of them were cloaked and recognized by none. About an hour later, another figure arrived, headed for the same room. Soon after, a terrible commotion erupted and the thundering light of magic was witnessed by the few remaining patrons. It took a while for the landlord to pluck up the courage to enter the mystery room. When he finally did, he found Jake there, dead. How and why he came to be there, no one knows, but I had a good look around the scene of the crime before the Legion barred anyone from entering. The traces of magic I felt were wild. Source, no doubt. Who, in your opinion, are the suspects? I myself have none, but even though the rest of the town has already mentally tried and convicted Jake's wife, Esmeralda. Now, it may well be established that she is in fact the guilty party. I am not claiming that I'm certain she is innocent, but let's just say that if I really thought this murder case would be so easily resolved, I wouldn't have sent for source hunters. Is there more you can tell me about the strangers that seem to be in league with the orcs? I can't say much more, but that they are madmen all the more dangerous to us because of their alliance with what should be a natural enemy. You won't see me teaming up with a terrier in a hurry. Okay, let's see if we can barter with him. He has some money. So, let's use that and sell something to him. Let's sell the baguette to him as well. And one of the brooms. And some fishing poles. That's too expensive. Odd mail armor. Still too expensive. Yeah. I'll take mine. And I forgot to compare these to Bardotter's armor, which apparently is a very good armor. So there won't be any need for us to change that equipment. Magical armor potion. Let's keep that. Sell the old mail and the broom. Okay. Huh. I guess we should go look at the scene of the crime. Okay.